I wouldn't think.
All right, we are the streaming on again?
Yep.
We are.
2 seconds.
All right, we'll wait for you,
I'll
Don.
get plugged in here.
I did.
Did you get your coffee drink?
Be good. Is everybody on?
Did you turn it back on, Troy?
I did. Myron, you might want to move that mic a little closer too. Like that.
Curl it around.
All right, we're back in session again. Commissioner Gable, you have a motion or a comment on item number 13, discussion possible action to accept or reply to the city's memorandum concerning transfer of the northern section of the auditorium parking lot.
Right. And, or the northern portion, I think would be a better way to say it, because when you say section, it means different things. But anyway, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, the city council earlier, well, no, it was at their meeting last week, Monday, agreed to sell the county the northern portion of the parking lot, and that we would need for the justice facilities. And the price they named was based upon the appraisal that was done on the whole parking lot, and that amount was $462,000. So the prorated, and basically what they stipulated in their motion was that the price of the land that we would like for the justice facilities would be a prorated cost out of that $462,000, which comes out to $310,000. Let me make sure I got this right. $310,000 and $310,373 would be the prorated price of that land. So now the motion I'd like to make is that we would agree to that price, but propose to the city that they accept it as a form of payment the land where the Coke Complex ball fields are located, because as people probably know, that's county land. And that's approximately 450,000 square feet of land out by the Extension Center. And since about 1976, that's been in use by the city Park and Rec as a ball field complex. So I would suggest that my motion would be that we recognize that price, we agree to that price of $310,373 for that northern part of the parking lot, but that we pay for it essentially by conveying to the city the land at the Coke ball field, so which is currently county property.
Cindy, did you get that?
Well, I'll go back and listen to it.
Okay, well, okay.
If he wants to put it in writing, that'd be perfect.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I will.
Here's what would have to happen. And just so people, just a bit of history on this, back in 1976, the county agreed to...
Commissioner Gable, is there a second to this motion? We've heard the motion.
I will second this motion.
Okay. Commissioner Charlie is seconded. Now let's open it up for discussion. Now,
yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Gable, now we'll...
Yeah, just a bit of history for folks. So in 1976, the city and county agreed that the county would lease this land to the city for $1 for 25 years. So up to, in theory, that lease would last through about 2001. So assuming, that I don't know that the dates were super exact when they planned it, but that's roughly from 76 to 2001, or maybe early 77 to 2002. So, but the point is that the city's been making good use of that land as a ball field complex, but it's county property. So, again, we think, even if you value that 450,000 square foot at say $1 per square foot, that's I think a pretty, as far as compensating fairly, I think that's pretty fair between the two costs. As I said, I would make the motion that we agree to the price of $310,000 $373 for the parking lot, or the portion of the parking
And
lot.
to offer as payment,
To offer as payment.
the land
Yeah,
Basically a land swap.
described
Yeah.
as the Cook Complex.
yeah. And we would, the exact legal description, we would,
Right.
if they agree to that, we would survey that, but people, I think, know where it is. It's just basically east of the parking lot, the Extension Center parking lot, so. And some of the ball field land south of that is already owned by the city, so for the city, it would make it more
Must be the
contiguous.
original Porsche, the
Yeah,
original
Yeah. So
softball fields.
And-
So-
Okay.
And the ice arena, is that on county or
That's
city?
this ice arena is on county land as well.
County
Yeah,
property, too.
yeah.
Any more discussion? Is everybody clear of what this is
So-
all about?
And this would include, if I may add to the motion, so I think it might be good to put this in a memorandum, just to inform, just of our idea, to formally, to inform the city of our idea to do it this way. And then we can have a discussion. But again, one thing I do need to emphasize, Mr. Chairman, is that, I think the whole discussion we've had about, the city's concerns about parking downtown and our need for space for the justice facilities and trying to keep them downtown, I think the overall plan, it represents a really good compromise between both jurisdictions. And now that we've agreed to a price, now we're talking about how to pay for it. And so that's kind of the next step in the process.
In reality, if we can work this swap, it'll save the taxpayers a bunch of money.
Yeah,
That's the bottom
Save a
line
lot of
here.
money.
In fact, we own that, about the North Four Diamonds out at the Cook Complex.
Yeah.
But we've been leasing it to the city for $1 forever, but we've never, to our knowledge, have had the record of getting the dollar. So, I don't know.
Okay.
The ultimate goal is for the best,
I don't want to say it,
for the citizens of the county, this would be the best option is to do
Yeah.
swap rather than
Yeah.
exchange of money. Best
It's going to
interest,
save
yeah.
costs on the overall project.
But just keep in mind that I think we have arrived at, overall the solution is, this is kind of a part of the solution, but overall I think we've arrived at a pretty cost-effective solution, either way. But we're trying to minimize that cost as we go through the process. This is simply our suggestion as to how to minimize the cost.
Okay, before we beat this thing to death, any more discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, will proceed. Thank you, Commissioner Gable. Number 14, the update on the CCJC progress. Commissioner Gable, you want to
Yeah.
bring us up
Yeah,
to
thank you,
par?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this week ago today, we had our most recent meeting of the Justice Advisory Committee. The two key things that came out of that were we approved the bond language. So we had Toby Morris, the financial advisor, on a video conference call. What he walked us through what the ballot language would say. It's pretty standard stuff. Shall the county issue general obligation bonds for the amount for $19 million to fund the construction of justice facilities is essentially the gist of it. So they made the recommendation to do that, and further, if we can, to try to get that amount as low as we can, even under $19 million. So that's going to depend a lot on the property acquisitions that we're talking about, how low we can go below $19 million. So to bond it for as little as possible, essentially. And they recommended, as an advisory committee, that we make use of that $5.7 million that we're using toward the project anyway. So, but part of that kind of depends on some of the details of the property acquisition process. And I would expect maybe next week or the week after, I would make a motion that we do the resolution to approve the ballot language, and to, I guess that, Cindy, I don't know, is that a resolution to announce the election, or I don't know what the proper term is, but it has the ballot language.
I
in the
think I would talk to
resolution.
Toby.
Yeah.
I think he'll
Yeah,
recommend.
no, he put it together. That's what we looked at. He put the whole resolution together.
He did,
We
okay.
focused on the ballot language.
So the two
and-
things you worked on were bond language and working on lowering the cost?
Yeah,
You
so-
said
Yeah,
two things
working on
that
lowering
came
the-
out of
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
before we make that resolution with a specific bond amount in the ballot language, what we want to do is just see if we can get that a little bit lower.
Okay.
And then, so that's what we're working on right now, and the property acquisition discussions are related to that. The other thing, the other big motion or recommendation that came out of the advisory committee was to continue with BKV Architects, that's the architect that we selected in a competitive process at the pre-design stage. So we're not to the stage of designing a building, but walking us through developing a concept that we can use and getting to a cost. So the committee recommended that we stick with them, and the way we do that, and then that's where the architects make their money. They don't make a lot of money on the pre-design phase, and so next week, I'm putting together a letter right now that we can send to BKV to say, okay, we would like to stick with you, assuming that the rest of it, we all agree as commissioners on this. We would like to retain you for the full project should the bond pass voter approval, and then ask them to begin negotiating the formal architectural contract so that we can be ready to start if the bond is approved and keep everything moving on schedule.
Okay.
So that's the two things. And then the next two dates, Mr. Chairman, for CCJAC meetings, May 2nd and then June the 6th are the two committee meetings that we scheduled. We may not need to do the June one depending on how things are going. And then I'm working out with, we're still working on the public meeting dates, so to speak, where we just kind of take questions and answers and talk about it with the public for public awareness. And right now we're looking at the most of the Thursdays of the month of May. But I'll come back with some specific dates, and maybe I'll announce those next week, and basically up until the election. And then I'd emphasize to folks that if they want to contact me to come and talk to, say, a community organization or a coffee clutch or something, I'm happy to do that. And so just to walk through and answer questions about the project, I've been having a few good speaking sessions with some organizations, and been very, very useful exchanges.
And the bond election will be in conjunction with the June election on June
20th.
20th,
yeah.
the third Tuesday.
All right, okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Thanks.
Item number 15, action to approve automatic budget supplements, and we have the HMEP grant. You might remind us, that is what?
Good question. They don't give me that information. Hazardous Materials Emergency Preparedness Grant.
There we go.
We had a training, hired 2 trainers to address different groups for this training. We paid them $1,500. We've been reimbursed $1,500 from the state of South Dakota. We just need to put that back into the emergency management budget.
Move to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Hatton, seconded by
I'll second.
Commissioner Gable. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Action to approve personnel changes. We do
Number
have-
of personnel changes this time. Jennifer Guest is a correctional officer. She'll move from step 10 to step 11 to $22.19 an hour. It is her anniversary step increase. Charles Rosso has been hired as a part-time criminal support coordinator. When you approved the full-time position, you also approved a part-time person. This will be a person who does not qualify for benefits. It'll be less than 20 hours a week. Charles Rosso has been put into that position at step 1, $15.97 per hour. Tyrell Minor is a corrections officer. He will receive, he'll stay at the same step, but he has met the educational incentives, so he gets that extra 10 cents. And then he will be moved to full-time, and he'll be moved to step 3, but for now, he's just getting the extra 10 cents an hour. Dan Busta is maintenance 2 in the highway department. His anniversary step increase is from step 10 to step 11, $22.43 an hour. Lynn Solberg is maintenance 2 in the highway department. Anniversary step increase from step 2 to step 3, $18.57 an hour. Doug Torstensen is due his anniversary step increase from step 2 to step 3. Maintenance 2 at the highway, $18.67 an hour. Jeff Schnackenberg has been hired as a custodian, seasonal custodian at Memorial Park. His pay will be $13.76 an hour. That's step one. John Schwant is a returning seasonal worker at the Highway Department. He'll be at step two, $15.15, under the building maintenance pay scale. And that's it.
Move to approve those personnel.
Motion by Commissioner Hatton,
Second.
seconded by Van Dusen. Any discussion? It's good to see these positions being filled, these part-time for our summer help. I don't know, do we have any opening yet?
I think he's still looking for one part-time custodian position. He's still working on that, but
We're out at the park.
for the park. Yeah, we have our
Otherwise,
campground managers in place and 2 of the 3 part-timers in place that he
Very
needs.
good. Excellent. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Travel requests, we have a number of them also.
A few of those, Emergency Management Director requests authorization to attend a State Incident Management Assistance Team Meeting Training Exercise in Sisseton. Weed and Pest Supervisor attend the Van Diest 2017 Mosquito Workshop. And Extension employees to attend the 4-H Online Fair Entry Basic Training. There are 2 employees. One will be attending the basic training, another will be attending the advanced training, along with the 4-H supervisor.
Move
Motion.
to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion
I'll second it.
approved. Motion approved by Van Dusen, seconded by Charlie
I
Waterman.
think the motion was by
Yes,
I
by
made the
Hatton.
motion.
Oh,
And I second.
all right.
What, you want to say?
Whoever. Who made the motion?
I made the motion.
Brenda.
Hanton and
Commissioner
Gable.
Hatton and Gable.
Yeah.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Old business, is there any mature business for discussion?
There is. We have got, the land that we own on Highway 212, we have taken bids for haying rights on that, and we're going to need to do that again because our contract ended last October. So I will probably proceed with, unless there's any objections, I will probably proceed with the notice to bidders and get that process started so we are in place before the haying season starts, whenever that is.
Is that for a one-time cut or a
It's
multiple cuts if it
for
works out?
whatever the successful bidder can get off of it. And it's a 2-year, it'll be a 2-year term, so it'll be for haying in 2017 and 2018.
Does that follow the state guidelines as far as for haying and mowing of ditches for wildlife then?
It's not in the ditches, so I don't think it does. I think
It's set back far enough.
you hay it when it's ready,
Yeah.
depending on the rain.
Yeah. It's set back kind of,
Yeah. Okay, do we need to?
No action is taken. I mean, if that's your wish to proceed with putting that out to bidders again, then I will,
I'm in favor of that. I'm good with that.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
about 10 acres, isn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think so,
9.8.
nine something, yep. Yeah,
And,
you're right.
Maybe just as a review, do you remember what our contract was last year?
No, I don't
I don't
have
either.
that right now. I've got it laying on my desk, but I did not bring it in with me.
All right. New business. Any new business? Seeing none, anything for the open?
Well,
Anyone have
I'm
anything?
looking here for possibilities. Of course, we'll be at consolidated boards and three boards. It will be a quorum of all of us.
Tomorrow's the governor's luncheon at LATI.
Yeah.
And I think also a GOP thing.
I do have one other thing for the open. We've received our second payment for the alcohol tax that we successfully lobbied the legislature for last year. Our first payment came for the last quarter of 2016, and that was $27,290.25. The period from January 1 through March 31st, we received the alcohol reversion collection, and that was $23,344.33. And these are the funds that were to be used for law enforcement, and this board designated those to the sheriff's office, and the jail, resulting in the hire of another full-time deputy sheriff. This is also the money that they tried to remove
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
us
this
this
year's
year
session,
during
yeah.
the legislature, but that failed.
So those are quarterly payments?
Those are quarterly
Yeah.
payments, yep, and
Okay.
we've received 2 since it was passed in.
What was the total on that again?
The first payment was $27,290.25. That was for the last quarter of 2016. First quarter of 2017 was $23,344.33. So this is brand-new revenue that we would not have seen without that legislative action taken in 2016.
About
Roughly, that'll be-
$100,000.
Roughly, that'd be about 80,000 a year then?
They told us more than that, so I don't know if this last payment is kind of a, do alcohol sales pick up at the 1st of April?
We really don't want to talk about encouraging people to drink more, but
Yeah, I don't know that these are going to remain
Summer
constant.
months, possibly.
Well, that's my thinking. Do alcohol sales pick up from
People
April
can't
1st
drink.
through September?
Or South Dakota winters are pretty rough, too.
yeah,
Well, you can see you can see the amount collected from October to December in 2016 was higher than the amount we receive now, but it's just something for us to monitor, and it is new revenue that we can anticipate when we,
now you got to pick it up.
when we prepare the budget, so that's just a note of interest.
Anything else for the open?
Mr. Chairman, just yesterday with the sheriff and Tom Walder, the chief corrections officer, we attended a symposium in Pierre about Hope Court, and that's something that may be coming down the road through the unified judicial system. Essentially, what Hope Court is a system of sanctions for people on probation that would make use of usually jail time, kind of putting, if they violate the terms of probation, you'd have scaled sanctions that would involve jail time. So there were a lot of sheriffs from around the state there. So obviously the concern is with many jails around the state being pretty full, that how are we going to accommodate that? On the one hand, it looks like a good way to possibly reduce recidivism. They had 2 people from Hawaii where this has really worked well in the kind of the state level Department of Corrections and penitentiary system, state prison system. So and understand the desire and the big picture to reduce recidivism. Just kind of a lot of debate about how our county's going to be able to handle that. So good idea, but figuring out it's a big puzzle. Our justice facility is one part of the puzzle. When you look at the state, so just for everybody's information, that's going on, that's happening. And then next week I'll be at the Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative Conference in Orlando, so I plan to call in to the meeting on Wednesday. So
Okay.
Something else should be noted, I guess there could be a quorum of commissioners at the Cottington County Republican Executive Board meeting tomorrow at the Wheel Inn
Yeah.
at noon.
and that's also at the same time as the governor's lunch.
And then Monday, the 17th, the planning and zoning. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
usually on their thing, but yes, planning and zoning meeting, there could
Well,
also
that's-
be a
yeah.
quorum
Could be
of
more than the
commissioners.
normal
Yeah,
number
with the brainstorming
with the
session.
kickoff. Okay.
Yeah.
And I,
Correct. The board will not meet next Tuesday. They will instead meet on Wednesday, April 19th.
Oh,
and
yes,
I
that
did-
is our Lincoln Day dinner that night. Well, I guess we can announce that at next week's meeting.
Okay.
We'll be all
And
right.
then I did attend my first meeting of the South Dakota Retirement System. I was sworn in to replace or to fill the unexpired term of Elmer on that board. So I represent all the commissioners in South Dakota. It's kind of like getting a drink of water out of a fire hose. The learning curve will be pretty high. There's a lot of stuff to learn, and it's a lot of stuff, though, that I am somewhat familiar with. Having been part of the system since 1973 does help. So I have a pretty good background understanding of the ins and outs and what goes on. There are some very good people on that board. The system is financially in good shape. It could always be better, but we're very, very fortunate to have the South Dakota retirement system that we have. It's done very, very well for many people. Anything else for the open? Anyone else out here? Anyone else has anything? Elmer, Doug, Don, Terry?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
You bet.
Second.
A motion by Hanton, a second by Charlie Waterman. All in favor say aye.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you. We'll see you, we'll convene again or come back at 1.
Yeah.
And we have one appeal, so it'll be a quick afternoon.